Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I'll introduce myself before I start this video. My name is Primatama Ahmad Nabil. I'm a student from State University of Syarif Hidayatul Jakarta, especially in Department of English Education. I'm from class 4B, and I'm going to talk about the articles that I've been reading for my extensive reading subject, with the help of Mrs. Nida. So I've been reading 10 articles through this semester, and I'd like to share those articles review in general. So I'll start now. The first one, I'll be talking about English as the Lingua Franca, or ELF, a corpus-based analysis, written by Prodomou. This paper is a research paper, and it's talking about how ELF is used in foreign language, comparing how the ELF speaker is more harder to learn than successful user of English, or SUE. This article is kind of different from the other 9 articles, actually, because the other 9 articles are taken from the same journal, but the similarity for this article to the next that I'll be talking about is that this is not a research paper. The next article that I'll be talking about is the impacts of English national examination in Indonesia, written by Mr. Taufiq Effendi and Mr. Ichwan. So as you can hear from the title, as you can see from the title, it's basically talking about how English national examination affects people, starting from students, teachers, and parents, or the principals for passing national examination of English. Since English is not our first language, it's kind of hard. They have problem in learning English for non-English speaker, and the examination ended up just to pass the exam, not to learn how do we speak English. And this paper states that there will be further research in the future, and the next article has the same thing too. They can conduct further research in the future. The title is "The Preschool Teacher's Understanding on Early Literacy, Implementation and Obstacles in Teaching Learning Activities," written by Dian Kurniawati. This paper is a research, and it has open-ended questionnaire, non-participant class of observations, and semi-structured interviews as the methods used. They have 4 parents, 4 teachers, and a group of preschoolers in Cianjur as a sample. The general topic in here is basically talking about teachers and parents' understanding of early literacy. Although it's already predicted that what they have been understanding of early literacy is not like what it's supposed to be. They only understand that early literacy means that students can do chalistung or write and count, but it's not that. And just most of them don't understand the lack of facilities and competent teachers made it worse. The next article relates to this, underline the lack of facilities. The next one is the use of English in teaching science and mathematics at Public Junior High School 1 Gorontalo, written by Hasanuddin, Pate, Mohammad, and Sitti, Roskina. This paper is a research paper, and it used direct observation and interview. The samples are 3 teachers from RSBI Gorontalo. That is, if I'm not mistaken, it's supposed to be sekolah berbasis internasional. So, rancangan sekolah berbasis internasional, or international based school plan. Oh, I don't know. Sorry. The general topic used in here is how they try to use English in teaching science and math, but the lack of competence in doing so and lack of facility, so that is no textbook available, made it worse. It's the same like the previous article that I've been talking about. And the next one, since this one used, we try to go back again to the impacts of English national examination. sorry. I mean, from this one, the next one we'll be talking about assessment, teaching report portfolio of English for young learner courses. This is basically the same like the earlier literacy that we talked about 2 articles earlier. So because the early article talks about early literacy, that means it is for young learners. This one also talks about assessment for young learners course, written by Dian, Susyla, and Angraini. The method used in this paper is a documentation, and they are taking 18 assignments created by English students of Muhammadiyah University of Bengkulu, who has partaken English for young learners subject and courses as TESOL. The general topic in here is basically finding out the weakness and strength of portfolio assessment for EYL learners. It has its own weakness, like no type of test, criteria for scoring each exhibit, and doesn't describe the enabling skill, but it also has some strengths, like activities. The activities provided are attractive for students. And assessment, the teaching report portfolio should show the process of students learning. Speaking of assessment, the next one also talks about task-based instruction in English for special purpose, the advantage and limitation, written by Ivonne. This is a research paper, and the methods used are classroom observation plus interview and a questionnaire. The samples are students of the English Language Center in Bandung. Basically, the title says it all. This paper talks about task-based instruction for English for specialist purpose, and what's the advantages and the limitations for that. So basically, the advantages are increasing students' participation, and they contribute to students' speaking skill. Speaking of speaking skill, I didn't mean to make that one. Speaking of speaking skill, you know that drama usually uses speaking as one of the skill for making the drama good. And the next article will be talking about drama. Encouraging students' involvement in drama performance, written by Elis, Homsini, Maolida, and Liana, Savitri. This is a research paper, and the methods used are observation, interview, and students' journal. The samples in this article are 7 teachers as a guide for drama performance, plus 18 classes with 10 students each. So basically, the school are having some kind of drama performance to be performed by these students, and there are 7 teachers who will be guiding them on how to perform well. So basically, this article talks about how to encourage students in getting involved for a drama performance, and basically rewarding students for those who perform better, motivating everyone to be the best. And the next one, the last 3 ones are basically problems that we find in university, and it has some connection from the previous excuse me. It has connection for the previous article. That is, it uses interview as the method, and there are students as a sample. So the first one is listening to students' voices, students' problems in listening comprehension, written by Suryla Wulan Tersta and Alfia Derinovianti. The methods used in this article are questionnaire and semi-structured interview, and the sample are 40 students from the 4th semester of English department participating in listening course plus 7 students for the interview section. As you can see from the title, this article talks about listening to students' voices. How students having problem in listening comprehension, because listening is one of the basic skills in learning English aside from speaking, reading, and writing, plus listening. Yet students have difficulties in studying listening. The main problems are problems related to listening materials, basic linguistic problems perceived by the learners, listening problems caused by the failure to concentrate, psychological characteristics, the listeners, the speakers, and physical settings. And in my opinion, one of the solutions that can be used to help students in this learning problem is using U-shaped design in teaching, engaging non-English speaking country students in learning English, written by Abdul Halim and Yeti Septiani Mustafa. The methods used in this article are observation and interview, and the sample is the lecturer who used U-shaped formation in class. I apparently happen to know someone who used this kind of method, and I have to tell you, it is true. The general topic is how positioning the chairs in class into U-shape helps students and lecturers in the class. Students can understand easier because they can hear the lecturer speaking in front of the class without worrying that they might not be able to hear it. And the lecturer can monitor everyone easily because since it is a U-shape, the students can be monitored by the lecturer easily, without having to worry that maybe there is someone that's not visible from their vision. And the last one, since these two articles that I've been talking about are related to college students, this is the last one that might happen to us soon enough. Why it took so long to complete undergraduate thesis at English department, students and lecturers' voice. Written by Yul Henry Tabran and Nunung Fajarian. The method used for this article is interview, and the sample are 11 lecturers consisting from 6 senior and 5 junior lecturers, and from 11 of that, 4 has overseas doctoral degree. And there are also 8 students interviewed for this article. 4 of them have graduated from the university, and 4 of them are still working on the thesis. Or maybe if you don't really know what thesis is in Bahasa, it's basically skripsi. The general topic is basically already explained from the title. Why it took so long to complete undergraduate thesis at English department. And the result is basically caused by procrastination, relationship between student and supervisor, and students' lack of understanding about what is the thesis. Okay, so that's all for my article presentation. I'm sorry if I happen to have any mistakes when I'm performing this, and probably that my voice is not clear enough. It's not that I want this. The condition that I've been living is kind of bad for the audio. So I'm sorry for any mistake I've done, and I'd like to thank Miss Mira Husna for the whole semester, or I can say 2 semesters because we met earlier in the last semester, for sharing her knowledge on how to read and understand everything faster, from novels, textbooks, and articles. I'm just hoping that the skills that she has taught to us will be useful for us in the future. And especially, I just hope that the 10th article that I've told you about why it took so long for undergraduate students to finish their thesis in the English department won't happen bad for me and for the other students. Thank you once again for watching this video. I'm sorry if there is any mistakes once again. Wabillahi taufiq wal hidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you so much.